The claws of the dragon, the Imperial Service of Yu Qing, are about to get their well-deserved revamp. So it's time that we took a deep dive into what you're going to get in the Action Pack Bundle available from Corvus Belli later this month. Welcome to the Dice Gods. My name is Hydra, and today we are going to be looking at the Imperial Service Action Pack, the Long Wang. Just waiting for the sniggering to die down, and the Dragon Lord pre-order exclusive edition miniature, which all make up the Action Pack Army Bundle of goodness, which you'll be able to pick up from Corvus Belli and your friendly local game store later on this month. Before we get into that, of course, I have to say thank you to members, Patreons, or you guys. You guys are keeping the lights on and the sanity between my ears. A special thanks goes out to Runic Wolf, Chaos Discordia, and Joe Rogers for being our higher tier of supporter. If you'd like to see more from the Dice Gods, please do consider liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all that McGuffin, and also maybe become a member, because yeah, that makes you especially awesome and stuff like that. So we greatly appreciate it. And before we go any further, a huge thank you to Corvus Belli for sending us this full set for review. That is absolutely amazing. We really appreciate the support for the channel. In today's video, we are not just going to look at the miniatures. We're going to talk a little bit about the profiles and give some ways, first of all, the points value of actually what's in the box, but also talk about how you can expand it with some of the releases that we know, thanks to Adepticon, are coming up, and what that would look like as a list. Just putting some ideas out there. Now, you may have seen these on the Corvus Belli YouTube channel, and a few other people have done it, but for the sake of completeness, we're going to do it as well. And we're actually going to start in small to large order. So let's get this bundle of joy out the way and take a look at the Dragon Lord. Now, obviously, a very pretty miniature, playable in game as well. We'll talk about some more of that in a minute. It's actually metal. I would have thought he'd have been, for some reason, I would have thought that he would have been unicorn or something like that, but no, he's not. He's metal, as you can see. Look out for the walking stick. That one's very thin and fine, easily bent. But yeah, it's a beautiful, detailed metal Corvus Belli miniature. We'll talk more about his stats in a minute, but from memory, he's about 5 points of mischief and trouble. So yeah, I'm not sure whether he'd see the table with me, but it's a lovely mini. It's a very nice one. Probably my least looked forward to miniature of the lot, but nice nonetheless. Very nice indeed. Next up, we have Long Wang. I am a total fan of all things tag, and yeah, this guy is no exception. Okay, so a 40mm base, a smaller base, and by the looks of things, unicorn. So this is the plastic resin that you'll have heard Corvus Belli talking about a lot, especially recently, the Adepticon seminars. Now, this stuff is beautifully detailed. I mean, look at it. You can see the crispness of this. And also, what have we got? We've got a very small point on the base here to tidy up. That's it. Now, I'm trying to look for a mold line. There's another little contact point there, a small mold line there, but that's going to be internal. You're not going to see that. I mean, it's lovely. There's no two ways about it. This material is such a jump up. Ha! We have a contact point, a very pronounced one. That's terrible. Unicorn is dead. It's horrible. No, it's the detail, even on the small points on here. It's so well done. It's so pretty. It is so pretty, I have to say. Very nice indeed. Next up, arguably, the main event itself, the big box. So we have, what, 10 miniatures in here? Is it 10? 3, 5... 6, 7, 8, 9 miniatures. 9 miniatures in this box, although technically 10 because you know you got that guy. Okay, so who do we have? Who do we have here? Coming off the back, I think this is the crane rank. I don't know actually. Yeah, I think that's our crane rank by the looks of things. Very nice miniature, of course. No, it can't be. It's got to be someone else. You know who this is? This is the Bayer, a light shotgun by the looks of things. With the two pieces down there. Yeah, it's a Bayer. So that's the new one that goes with the Gribbly Beast. Let's see if we can find the Gribbly Beast to go with it. Or is it one of those ones where it's spread across from there? There we go. Oh gods, okay. We've got part of a Gribbly Beast. We have more of a Gribbly Beast. And this is one of those sets where things are spread across the area. So there's the main body. And here's the legs and stuff. Beastie. I'm guessing his face is in there. Yeah, his face is in there too. Nice. So those two go together. Then this is the Chinyao Drop Trooper, I think. Looks like it. I'll be honest, I'm not sold on this miniature at all. I am. Hang on. There we go. There's the other bit of it. I'm not sold on it. I'm rarely impressed with drop troopers as it is, unless they're like Carlotta Kowalski in the Nomads, because she's just filth. And actually, a cheeky Garuda now and again with a Spitfire is good, but we'll talk more about it in a minute. But yeah, I'm not convinced by this guy. I think it's one of those miniatures that you love or you hate, and I'm kind of on the fence. But as ever, the quality of this stuff is gorgeous. It's nicely detailed. It's a great sculpt. No two ways about that one. Now, who have we got? We've got part of a conga. See, they're coming in bags with lots of different bits in them. So this is the conga's leg and his bow. But somebody else's. This looks like a Celestial Guards combi rifle here. I'm not going to crack these all open right now. Oh, there's the rest of our conga. There's the rest of our conga ninja. So when you're putting these together, it's not a case of just getting one bag and putting them together. That looks like a complete Celestial Guard, having said that. Love these guys. I've always been a fan of Celestial Guard. If I was to play Imperial Service, like, competitively, I think it would be based around them. Controversially. Tactical box, Imperial Agent Crane Rank HMG. I like the drama of this pose. Like sticking the sword out. I'm going to hate storing it, but I do like the drama of it. I think it looks very cool. Very dynamic. And that again. So he's actually got a backpack that needs to go on, and his sword is separate as well. In a separate part of the box. Which, you know, you're going to have to do your homework to stick these together. There's another complete Celestial Guard. So that's good. Who do we have here? We have... It looks like the Pheasant rank and the Wu Ming, I'm guessing. So this is our Pheasant here, and that's the Wu Ming, yeah. I love the faces of these Wu Ming. I think they look phenomenal and absolutely badass. I do think they look very cool indeed. Again, so this is the peg in the chest, attached the peg in the chest for the right arm, and then the left arm is on its own peg and then clips into the back of this, or slides onto the back of this. So for all those who recently, when we did that video about the top 10 worst, we're talking about, I hate it when you have two-part guns, or two-part arm sets. Bad news, people. There's our last Celestial Guard. So this is a little bit, this set's going to take a little bit of sitting down and figuring out who goes with what, but it's not too massively difficult. Quite a few of them are all together, and like the little beastie, that is joined together. Sorry, that is in like the part and a bag. But the Yao Ching, Chao Ying, Jin Yao, that's the one. The Drop Trooper of Death, who's just got a spare fin stuck out. Not entirely sure why, but we do. Yeah, there's one in the bag and one here. If you guess why, answers on a postcard. Thank you very much. And then, of course, we have the usual set of bases. And that's what's in the box. So nothing massively sort of unsurprising. Or massively surprising. That would be a better use of the English language. Nothing massively surprising. But I think, like I say, when you get your bits out of the box, maybe, because you should be cleaning these, we talked about it in a recent video, you should be giving these a wash before you stick them together, just to be sure. Maybe group them up at that point before you stick them in to give them a clean, because they are a little bit all over the place at this point. Very pretty though, very pretty indeed. That I like the Koga Ninja as well, with that bow. But anyway, that's enough unboxing. Let's get into the profiles and the miniatures that are in this box, how they fit together, how we could fit them together, and yeah, we go from there. Okay, let's get into the meat of this and start looking at what you actually get in the box to play with. And that's the box that we just saw. Isn't it pretty? So, first up, a staple of the Imperial Service sectorial, the agents. If you don't know much about Imperial Service, essentially it's a force which is pulled together from lots of different places, and then you get a mix of the agents who are kind of like running the show, and then you have things like the Wu Ming, who are, I think, ex-penal troops, and you have Kangxi, who are actually prisoners, and there's all this kind of stuff going on. So the Imperial agents, like the Crane and the Pheasant rank, are very much the governors of this, and they are your heavy hitters, yeah, your big boys, effectively, which we love. So this is a reimagining of a miniature we've seen before. This is not new. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because they're great. The one that we get in the box is the HMG. So an AP HMG, in fact, not just a standard HMG, with the option to be either a lieutenant or just a standard munchkin. But let's have a look at the stats. Is regular trooper, 6'2" movement, CC 24, because Yu Ching, swords, pokey pokey. BS 13 is tasty. The Fizz 13 is nice if you discover yourself in a situation where you don't feel like shooting back. Whip 14 is nice. Pretty strong, actually, especially if you go for a lieutenant. Although, having said that, as we'll get to in a minute, there are better options if you like Whip 14. Arm 4, BTS 6 makes him pretty tough, and the Vita 2 gives him those 2 wounds with Select 2 and AVA 3. Okay, so the X-Visor. So his HMG is actually good beyond the 32 inches, because we lose that negative -3 modifier that happens over the 32 inches. This is just better at further shooting, which is, you know, who doesn't want to actually be able to shoot further? This is nice. Combat instinct, ignores surprise shots, that's fine. Courage, you can choose whether to take your guts check or not. +3 inches to your dodge is horrific, so if you do hit that Fizz 13 dodge, then you are going to be going a very long way. And definitely getting yourself out of trouble, which is tasty. Immune to shock, fine. Martial arts level 3, so unsurprisingly, a CC 24 trooper is going to have martial arts, is going to be just a machine when it comes to CC. And he has stealth, which is, I mean, in this day and age, is pretty useful to have heavy infantry, especially if you want to potentially do CC with them. That has stealth, so you can just do the sneaky up to your enemy before you stab them in the head. I like the fact there's an AP HMG in here. Would I possibly have taken an AP Spitfire given the choice? Possibly, but it's not bad. 49 points on 1.5 SWC. I don't think is bad for this particular guy. I think he is tough, he is durable, and he'll do some work on the field. He will earn his points back almost certainly. These guys can also be set up with a Wu Ming, and they can also be set up with Celestial Guard as fire teams, but those won't be pure. They won't be sharing They won't be sharing a sort of keyword, but you can put them in as Cyan, which is an option. You can do that, but I don't know what that's for. Sorry, can you tell me? Filling here desperately. All right, sorry, they are. So there's another fire team, is the Cyan fire team, and they can go in there and be pure. So they can work with bow troopers, pheasants, crane, as I said, and Zanying, which is pretty good, and remain pure. But that's only up to a Harris. But then when you're running these kind of heavy hitters in a fire team, you may not end up with a full core, which is fine. But yeah, a very handy unit, very, very pokey, very, very shooty, and will take some work to dislodge if you try and hack him with that BTS 6. So, especially if you start putting fairy dust on them, it starts becoming disgusting. Anyhow, so Imperial agents, we love them. They are your beat stick. You will beat people with them a lot. And if you don't like beating with a crane, then you can beat with a pheasant. So this is the little baby brother, well, the medium brother of the crane. 4-4 movement, so standard movement, CC 17, so he's not quite as pokey. BS 12, not quite as shooty. Fizz 11, not quite as dodgy, but still with the whip 12. 2 arm isn't bad. BTS 3 is fine. 1 Vita, so about 2. Chain of command baked in is just nice. It is nice to be able to bring something that just has this built in as standard. +1 inch in the dodge is cool. Immunity to shock is cool. Stealth, as we discussed, very useful. And strategic deployment lets them get up the field. The one that we have in the box actually comes with a Red Fury. So we've got 3 profiles with combat rifles, 1 with boarding shotgun, and then attack aware Red Fury. Is it the best build there? I'd rather have a hacker in this box, but I get what it is. It's kind of a follow-up beat stick. He's not anywhere near as heavy as the crane, but he'll do some work. And crucially, unlike the crane, which is Imperial Service only, this guy is also generic. So you know he can be useful to other armies as well. But like the boarding shotgun with mad traps is kind of heckin' useful. A whip 14 doctor, a whip 14 hacker, a killer hacker. These are both really potent. Well, these are all, sorry, really potent builds that would be really useful. But instead, we got Attack Aware Red Fury, which, you know, like I said, it's not horrible. And these can go in the Cyan fire team, as I discussed, and remain pure, which is kind of cool. They can also go with Wooming, and again, I think they can also go, yep, they can go with the Celestial Guard as well, but they don't remain pure, which is not ideal. But fine. So, yeah, automatic chain of command. Not going to complain at that. Next up, we have a Wooming, and this Wooming is armed with an SMG in the box, so AP SMG to be specific. So regular trooper again, 4-4 movement, CC 17, BS 13 is nice, if only it wasn't so short range. Fizz 12 is okay for the dodge. Whip 12, yeah. To be honest, I don't think there aren't specialists for Wooming, so you're just shooting stuff and poking stuff, so they don't need to be too bright, they just need to do violence, and they're pretty good at that. The Arm 4 is nice, the BTS 3 is good, the Vita 2, yep, +1 inch on the dodge, and immunity shock. They're kind of the most basic of heavy infantry, probably in many ways in Yuqing, because there's no martial arts in here, there's no stealth in here, it's just kind of, I can dodge a little bit further, and you ain't shocking me. Which is fine. It's, you know, they're fine. Loadouts wise, you've got the multi-rifle boarding shotgun, AP HMG, heavy rocket launcher, and then the 2 builds with the AP SMG with EMRAT or emitter, depending on which particular flavour of EM weaponry you feel like bringing to the field. They are cheap. I mean, an AP submachine gun EMRAT for 19 points with a boarding pistol, because of course. It's tasty. It's a tasty option. I think for me, these guys are going to be in a weird spot, because I like the multi-rifle, but then you pay for the grenade launcher and the EM grenade launcher at 27 points. That's a bit much, but the AP submachine gun's a bit short range, so they're neither one thing nor the other. They can, however, form a core with Zanyings. They can form them with the pheasants and the cranes, but they don't remain pure if they go with the pheasants and the cranes, but they do if they go with the Zanying. So maybe he's just a cheap stopgap. We talk about Zanyings in a minute. They are very cool and very, very useful. So him being cheap to go into that fire team to run up the field, maybe not an awful thing. Maybe not a bad thing at all. And a beautiful miniature. There's no two ways about that. Very, very stunning. And a very useful profile. Just it's pretty basic. And they are Imperial Service and Ikari. I think that's Ikari. Just have one of those moments where you're like, I think that's Ikari. But I don't do... Guys, I'm sorry. I don't do non-lined. It is Ikari. Oh, yes. So, yeah, they're usable in both of those. So if you are a non-lined, if you're a mercenary player, then these guys will be good for you too. Then we have Celestial Guard. Oh, I love Celestial Guard. They are phenomenal. Let's talk about why. Move 4-4, it's light infantry, of course it is. CC 15 is fine. BS 11 isn't that great. Fist 10, yep, standard for light infantry. Whip 14, hello baby. Arm 1, BTS 3, 1 Vita with a +1 inch dodge. Again, fairly basic, apart from that tasty Whip 14. Why is that tasty? Because these guys have a lieutenant profile for 13 points. That is less than 1 point per point of whip. That is the perfect, get your lieutenant, stick him behind a box, make sure he doesn't die, it's all going to be fine, just stay there. Unit. Ever. Love them. Fab. They really are just nothing fancy at all, and that's awesome. In the actual rest of the loadouts, the fact you can have a hacker, you can have a forward observer is nice. The multi-marksman rifle is also nice, but there's no beat stick in there. There's no heavy machine gun. There's no missile launchers. Those are completely absent from this. They are Imperial Service only. And, you know, you haven't got even like a paramedic is missing from this. So while you do have that tasty lieutenant, the rest of it, they're just cheap cheerleaders and to go into potentially a fire team. But why would you take him as a fire team? I don't know. I don't know that I would. You also, Celestial Guard also appear under Kangxi as the controller. So effectively, Kangxi are prisoners who are forced into combat. Effectively, it's all very nice. It's all very lovely. The Imperial Service, and you get one there. But I'm guessing we'll see a redone Kangxi box with a new one in, with a new Celestial Guard with a control unit, but maybe, who knows, we'll see. But for the time being, these guys are fine. The standout will always be the lieutenant for me. He's just almost a go-to, almost a no-brainer. Almost. Now, the first of our new units, because all of that we've seen before, the Bayara Palace Guard. Yeah, regular troop, 4-4 move, CC 22, BS 12, Fizz 10, Whip 14, 1 arm, BTS 3. Yeah. It comes alive. It's kind of okay there. The CC is nice, don't get me wrong, but then we have the 360 visor, a biometric visor, MSV1, a reroll on disco, guard for munching things at 8 inches, and religious troop. Religious troop, loadouts, light shotgun, heavy flamethrower, disco baller with a Cobra pistol. So that is a close combat pistol, which the Gribbly can then take up to 8 inches and CC people into shmush. Or we can do a mine layer with shock mines, light shotgun, heavy flamethrower, again the Cobra pistol, or a submachine gun, EMRAT, shock mines, blah, 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 blah. The dude in the box has a light shotgun and heavy flamethrower. 18, 19, 20 points. When it comes to hunting infiltrators, your impersonators, the guys that are going to appear in your backline that you don't want there, like certain JSA units, Shinobu, for example, your specular killers, that kind of thing. This thing's a beast for protecting your backline from infiltrators, from airborne deployment dropping in. he's a monster. He is. You know, you can set fire to stuff. You can shoot stuff with the light shotgun. You've got the 360 visor. You've got the ability to CC at 8 inches. You can re-roll your disco. You've got whip 14 as standard. There is, in a real sense, very little that is going to stand up to the Bayara discovering it if it wants to. But that's what it does. And beyond that, it's almost, I mean, yeah, I hear the argument about the bit disco baller if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not that kind of kinky, unfortunately. But if you come across an army that doesn't have any drop troopers that are going to come behind you, any camo markers, or doesn't have any impersonation units, he becomes a cheerleader, and then he's an 18 to 20 point cheerleader. The Celestial Guard's cheaper. The Celestial Guard is a smaller base. This is on a 55mm base from memory. It's a big boy. It's a big bullet magnet. And it's a chunk of points. It is a chunk of points. I love the miniature. I think the miniature is freaking awesome. And when I saw it, I was like, hell to the air. And then I saw the profile and I was like, oh, that is absolutely a direction you could go. Backfield board control, absolutely. Offensive capability, zip. Order generation, that's what he does. So, it's fine. It's just not particularly inspiring me. Speaking of things that don't inspire me, the Chinyao drop unit. Yeah. A remote. Regular 16 movements, CC 12, BS 12, Viz 11, Whip 13, Arm 2, and 1 structure. Albedo -3 is nice. Combat Jump 13 is nice. Courage, Parachutist, Sprint Presence, and Super Jump with Jet Propulsion. These are all nice things. These are all nice things. The Boarding Shotgun Heavy Riot Stopper is cool. The Red Fury with Heavy Riot Stopper. I would probably rather have the Pheasant, which I think was 24 points, and 1 SWC with a Red Fury than this guy. I think it's a better option. Submachine Gun, Adhesive Launcher, Heavy Riot Stopper, and Deployable Repeater. If you absolutely have to get the Deployable Repeater downfield, or you absolutely want to glue somebody to the floor, or you absolutely want to tickle them with a submachine gun at close range, and the same with the Paramedic. For me, the Paramedic is the standout because it's always good to have a drop specialist, and Whip 13 isn't awful, 19 points isn't awful by any stretch of imagination, but the one in the box is a boarding shotgun, and this is something that you see a lot with CB, is they bring out new boxes and you get these new miniatures, and the one that's included in the box is, for me, the one that's meh. So like the Wu Ming with the submachine gun, I'd have preferred the multi-rifle. Here, I'd have preferred, with this Chinyao, I'm probably saying it wrong, I'm sorry. With this unit, I'd have preferred a submachine gun, because there is more, for me, utility to that. Even though the boarding shotgun's cheap, I get all that, I'm just not feeling that this isn't a gunfighter. It's not really, it doesn't have stealth, so you're not getting to that 8-inch good range without getting some type of response. It's only got 2 armor, it's only got 1 structure. It doesn't have the teeth to gunfight in the backfield. It's not scary enough to gunfight in the backfield. I mean, if you absolutely have to hunt down a multi-spectral visor trooper, sure. Yes, maybe the boarding shotgun would be a nice option, especially with that combat jump. Sorry, with that jet propulsion. But are there other things I'd spend 17 points on? Yeah, absolutely. Which seems to be the theme with the new profiles in this army for me. I'd rather spend it on something else. Kogan Ninjas. Right. Let's have a look at this bad boy. Now, anyone that knows me knows that I don't tend to play ninjas. It's just me. It's just not the style I play. However, this guy is fine. He is regular, 16 movement, CC 23, because ninja, BS 12, Fizz 12, Whip 13, 1 arm, 3 BTS, 1 fighter, S2. So the bang bong when being shot at, the +4 to dodge, so you dodge on a 12 when you're getting shot. Cool. Climbing plus, nice. Courage, yep. Decoy 1, of course. Dodge +1 inch, so you're going to dodge easily if you get shot and you're going to go further. Martial arts level 3. That mimetism -3 is nice. Spec Op, fine. Stealth, of course, and surprise attack -3. He's cool. He's nice enough. Yeah, he is cool. We have then basically the option to go with forward deployment or camouflage. EM carbine, tactical bow, or EM carbine with EM mines, pulsars in between. And then we have one hacker, killer hacker specifically, with the carbonite included. This is the thing that gets me. This is the thing that gets me with these guys every time with ninjas. They're 25 to 30 points, and they're fine. I think the hacker with camo, forward deployment, killer hacker device, that is for me the standout by far. Especially with the decoy, the fact you can camouflage, forward deploy, get that decoy down. Mimetism -3. These are all good things. That is probably the standout one for me. But is it better than other things that are in this army? No. No, it's not. If I want to stab things in the face, I could take a crane who can pretty much do it the same way, but has 2 wounds. Has more armor. Aside from that, I think, could you tell that I'm currently just double checking myself? If we look at the crane, so the crane, granted, is 40 odd points. That's absolutely true. So it's 10 plus points more. 10 to 15 points more. But it's actually got 1 more point of CC. So the crane is CC 24. It's still got stealth. No, it doesn't have mimetism. No, it can't go camouflaged. But it has +3 inch to the dodge, which it does on a 13, which this does on a 12 unless it's getting shot. No, we don't have decoy on the crane. DA CCW versus EM CCW with potential survival 6. And then, if you're not stabbing people with the crane, you can shoot them. You can shoot them a lot. Yes, it's burst 4 EM carbine, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. It's fine. It is a fine profile. It is a fluffy profile. I do think there are better options, which is a damn shame because that miniature is gorgeous. Right. Speaking of gorgeous things, let me get my long wang out for you all to marvel at on the internet. I'm going to start up a website soon called Only Dice. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. Right. Big boy shooty. Let's talk about this little bundle of fluff. He's a tag, 6'4 movement, CC 17, BS 14, which is tasty, Viz 15, which is very, very nice, Whip 13, okay, Arm 7, BTS 6, natively, 3 structure, and Silhouette 6. So he is a light tag with medium to heavy tag armor, and that tasty BTS. Biometric visor. So if you do need to hunt, now bearing in mind this guy doesn't have any type of infiltration, so he is going to start in your deployment zone. If you have an impersonation marker, he's got a biometric visor. He can hunt them down. Excuse me. He can hunt them down just as well as the Bayara could do. Because you're only, in theory, you're only going to have to kill your impersonation marker once. Okay, so he can do it too, and then he can go off and do the rest of the game. So the biometric visor there, kind of, if I was running this, would I take a Bayara? Never. Anyway. ECM guarded -6 is cool. BS attack, saving roll -1. Yep. BS attack -3. How often do we see this these days? Tasty. Courage, dodging on an 11. Yep. Gizmo kit on a 12. That's nice. Attack aware is nice. Loadouts. HMG, adhesive launcher, light riot stopper, so template glue gun, or just a normal glue gun, because glue gun. And then the remote unit, or Mark 12 with +1 burst, so that's a 24-inch range HMG basically, with the adhesive launcher, with the light riot stopper, which doesn't now get the +1 burst. You only get that in one place. You don't get it for everything. You've got to pick where you get your burst. You either get it in your main gun, or you get it with your riot stopper. Choose, people. Horus, just standard heavy machine gun, adhesive launcher, light riot stopper +1 burst, and NCO. 72 to 74 points and 1.5 SWC. God damn, that is cheap. He is a cheap, chunky monkey, and I love it. I think he's great. Jokes about the name notwithstanding, awesome. I also like the feet style, ties back to some of the other tags in Yuching as well. It just works for me. Some of the heavy infantry as well. Or am I thinking heavy infantry? Remind me in the comments. Slap me around which one's correct. So, generic or Imperial Service. I think this guy is brilliant. With that Arm 7, with that 3 structure, with that BS-14, with that biometric visor, with the extra damage, and the BS-3, and the option of taking effectively a potential survival 5 Spitfire, 72 points and 1.5 SWC. He's a beast. His wang is long, and it is mighty. Availability 1 is disappointing. It would be good to have more than one of these guys available for Imperial Service, but we live in a world where we don't get that because we don't get nice things. We just get this. But then you have to put that in the context of you also get the Sujian in Imperial Service at availability 3, and he's cheaper and blah, blah, blah. So yeah. But this guy, I'm a big fan. I think he's awesome. I think he's absolutely lovely. Yeah. And then we have the Dragon Lord. Okay. I love the miniature. He's a regular. 4/4 movement, CC 18, BS 10, Fist 10, Whip 13, 0 arm, 0 BTS, 1 Vita, so 1 wound. Martial arts level 1. Spec Op and Stealth. Nano Pulsar, Flash Pulse, Silence Pistol, and Monofilament CC weapon for 5 points. I'd never run it. let's just get that out of the way now. I would never run this. I just don't feel it. I don't remotely. And that's not a criticism by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's fine with the -3 that martial arts level 1 gives out. He's potentially a good little close combat unit, especially with the monofilament, so you can take things straight to dead for 5 points. He's interesting. I'd rather upgrade another unit with a better gun. Because he's irregular, he doesn't add to the pool, and that just, that doesn't... he's cool. I mean, I've seen people absolutely getting inappropriately excited about this particular unit over the internet, and that's fair enough. If it floats your boat, that's cool. But for me, it's 5 points of, okay, there's lots of ideas in there, but, yeah. If you love it, tell me why in the comments. I'd love to know. I'd love to know what I'm missing. Because, it just seems fine. It just seems fine. It's just not durable enough to go on a mission to, even with this, potentially stab someone in the back for the comedy of it all. Potentially. I don't know. Tell me what I'm missing in the comments. I would be intrigued to find out. Let's look at the list. So in that box, or those 3 boxes, if you put them together as they come pretty much, in their most basic formats, you are looking at 274 points and 4 SWC. If you are newish to Infinity, then that effectively, you're most of your way to 300 points. You're most of your way to a full list. As I say, I'm not convinced by a couple of the units in there, by any stretch of the imagination. But 274 points in this box, it is a viable army. It is something you can do something with. The Celestial Guard can fire team up with the Pheasant or with the Crane. They can work together. That's one of the options that you have there. And you can put extra points in this probably to push it over to the 300 by... I've pretty much put the most basic options in here, so you can, jump it up a little bit here and there, like the Long Wang, I think it's 74 points if you put the NCO option on there, and there are more expensive ways to do this. I have gone for the basic. It will work. You won't be popular. You'll do unpleasant things to people, but I think it could be better. And let's just talk about that for a second. So at Adepticon, we had these 3 bundles of fluff and happiness added to the next 3 months. So I believe this is how they're coming out. I think they're coming out in this box. This is 2 Wu Ming on the left and the right, and the Zhanying in the middle. I think this is coming out as a single box in the next 3 months, from what Carlos said in the Adepticon presentation. So the Zhanying, that's a hacker. So that is a move CC, CC 18, BS 12, BS 10, blah, 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 blah. Whip 13, 6 Sense, immune to BTS, Beastie. With the hacking dice was upgraded with 0 pain, so that is a throwing 2 dice in ARO to nullify attacks. And the fact it also comes with a picture, and it also comes with decharges, 425 points and 0.5 SWC is horrific, and we love it. The fact it's immune to BTS, anything that targets as BTS, is just awesome as well. Because of that, if you get hacked with something that has, say, dual action ammunition, or it has armor piercing ammunition, it just counts as normal. So you ignore those buffs, your BTS 6 will stand. Which is, on a hacker, is awesome. It's just great. 25.5 SWC. We also got the Shenji Ying Divine Machine Battalion. We only got this concept artwork for, again, next 3 months, as I understand it. You're looking at an engineer, a Whip 14 engineer. If you're taking the Long Wang, I would say that you'd need one of these. So to be clear, she's Whip 13, but she gets Whip 14 as a special skill. So let's do it. Medium infantry, 4/4 move, CC 16, BS 12, Vizsla, Whip 13, Arm 2, BTS 3, 1 fighter. But on top of the deactivator and the Gizmo kit, she gets that engineer Whip plus Whip equals 14. Combo rifle, Arclight Cannon, so glue Panzerfaust, decharges, buff to decharges for 18 points, up to 21 if you start adding in adhesive rifle turrets or emitter turrets or deployable cover or this kind of stuff. She's pretty good, actually. I don't know which of the loadouts I run on a regular basis, but she is pretty tasty. She's not awful. She's not terrible. Whip 14 engineer outside of Nomads is not to be sniffed at. So, if we put those releases into that, what you get in the starter set and this, things get quite interesting. The Crane rank APHMG, I don't know why you would leave home without it, so I wouldn't. He would come for the funsies. Celestial Guard Lieutenant, because I don't know why you wouldn't. A 13-point Whip 14 LT to sit in the back and hide. Yes, please. Then we start getting into the more interesting stuff. Celestial Guard Hacker. There's a hacker with Whip 14. Yes, please. He can hide at the back with the lieutenant and be out of the way and pokey. Yes, it's going to mean proxying, but yes. Long Wang, HMG. Definitely one of the options. Possibly, actually, you could upgrade that. I didn't think about it when I wrote the list, but you could possibly upgrade this to the NCO variant. I think you have enough. Yes, you do have enough points. You've got 295 and 5.5 SWC, so you could upgrade that to the NCO variant and get even more utility out of this. Then we have 3 Wu Ming, the APHMG, the boarding shotgun with the Firewall -6 note. So this is really potent. And our friend, the AP submachine gun. They form a fire team, okay, with that Zhanying hacker that we just spoke about. So you now have a 4-unit, 4-trooper fire team that is going to womble its way up the board with a hacker in the middle of it, with a firewall on it natively, which is pretty good, in my opinion. That's pretty tasty. Being pure, so it's keyword matched, you're going to get that +1 BS as well. So that will mean that your Wu Ming are now BS 14, which is very tasty. It's very tasty indeed. We then put the Pheasant down from his Red Fury down to a combi rifle, make her a doctor. 27 points for a Whip 14 doctor is not bad, especially because it's also chain of command. Then we have the Shenji that we just talked about with the combi rifle, arc-light cannon, and in this case I put the adhesive launcher armed turret on there as well for the funsies. So what you're looking at there is the box that's just about to drop, plus the next two I think that are coming afterwards, the Wu Ming, the two Wu Ming and the Zhanying, and then the Shenji. What that gets you is, if you're not keeping up, you've got the Celestial Guard hacker, you've got the Zhanying hacker, you've got the Pheasant Doctor and Chain of Command, and the Shenji engineers. So you've got most of your sort of standard mission completing trooper types in there. Yeah, we've got D-charges on the Zhanying. We also have them on the Shenji as well, so you can do missions with that too, which is very welcome indeed. You've got the heavy hitter with the Long Wang. You've got, you can defend yourself from pretty much anything that you may need to face effectively. And you can stand your troops up and stuff like that. The fact that you've got that 4-man core in there, a 4-person core in the middle, is distinctly unpleasant. And if you wanted to, actually, you could stick the 2 Celestial Guard together with the Crane and make that into a fire team as well. So you have the potential for 2 fire teams, a tag, and then the Pheasant and Shenji running around separately. Other things you can do with the Shenji as well is stick a helper bot on it, a slave drone on it, and then that could go and follow the tag around and heal it if necessary. I think this is a more versatile and potent list, although it does drop some of those flavorful units out of the initial army pack. But I like this. I like this setup. I think this would be fun. I think this would hit like an absolute bag of bricks. But I also think you'd have options to do missions as well. So I think that's nice. I think that's a good little list. And it'll let you guilt-free buy all of the up-and-coming releases which are soon to drop from Corvus Belli for this particular sectorial. So that's nice. You are welcome. So there you go. That is our deep dive into the Imperial Service Action Pack. That is what we think. That is what we've got coming up. How this can potentially, or how it will fit together out of the box, how it could potentially fit together out of the box over the coming months. I think the playstyle for Imperial Service is going to be interesting. They've always been kind of like this middle of the road. They've got a bit of everything. It's kind of, there's nothing really specialised about them, but they've got like toolkit units that can do lots of things. And things like the Bayara really fit into that, where it has all this stuff that it can do in one specific area. But outside of that, it's a bit of rubbish. I feel like that's where the Imperial Service very much is. And it's good to see them back. It's lovely to see them refreshed. They've needed it for a while, and they have come back with blinding miniatures. These guys are stunning. Love them greatly. So it's going to be great to see them on the tabletop. It's going to be great to see what the releases we get up and coming, because as we know, Corvus Belli has committed that when they drop a new action pack, it will be supported for the foreseeable future with new stuff. So that's going to be coming too. We're going to get new stuff for this army, which is fab. Overall, I like this set. I think it's cool. I think it looks nice. I think there's some miniatures in here that would be lovely to paint. Out of the box, the army that's there is fine, but I think if you're a new player, there are some bits that you could add to it that makes it a little bit more potent. From here, our next video is going to be Imperial Service focused as well. Our next Infinity video is going to be Imperial Service focused as well. We are going to do a deep dive into the lore, the miniatures, the units, and the play style of this particular army. And for our members, we're going to come together with some list suggestions as well for different mission types and talk about how it can fit together. So that's going to be a bit of a beast. But that's coming soon. But for now, thank you so much to Corvus Belli for sending us this early to complete a review. We really do appreciate that. And I hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you all again soon. Goodbye.